Look, we've asked you about a lot of bad tape in some of these scrubs that the Cowboys destroyed. How fun is the Dolphins tape?
Oh, yeah. And what's funny, guys, is and people think of them as a passing team, and they are. I mean, Tua, he's had a great year, all that. Got to stop Tyreek Hill. You got to stop Jalen Waddle. They've run for more touchdowns than any team in the NFL.
Wow.
I mean, and their average per rush, I mean, Mostert is averaging 4.9. Devon Achane is crazy. I mean, he's averaging 8.5 a carry. I mean, so the run numbers are even crazier than their passing numbers. But, yeah, no question, they're a handful, and they obviously can beat you throwing it, and they can beat you running it.
Babe, what did you think about Tua coming out? What do you think about him? What did you call him yesterday, Bobby? You called him a rich man's Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yeah, like there's off-brand guys like I'm saying Tua's kind of like the left-handed, like, really high-class Jimmy Garoppolo.
I like that. The high-class Jimmy Garoppolo.
Kind of insulting, but like...
No, because he doesn't have the same flaws of the off-brand.
I agree with you, but it's just like, is it system? Are guys wide open? Is he, he's accurate, but does he really have the arm? What do you make it to?
Does he have the huge arm? No, but the guy who probably is going to win the MVP this year doesn't have a big one either. Brock Purdy out in San Francisco.
Right.
So you don't need that cannon. Hey, they saw the cannon last week against Buffalo with Josh Allen, and he threw it 15 times.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think Tua is a very, very good quarterback. I mean, I like him. You can see he's smart, knows how to deal with things, handles himself well. I guess he really announced himself. I always say guys kind of announce themselves. And I remember DeMarcus Ware announced himself. We really didn't know anything about him playing at Troy. We knew he was a first-round pick and all this. And this first preseason game, Cowboys go to Seattle. He plays about half the game. He has 2 sacks. He has a strip fumble. He has an interception. I mean, he took over a preseason game, if you could do that, in a half a play. And you're like, wow. And Tua announced himself in that national championship game, right? Who gets substituted? Who gets taken out? Especially when you're Jalen Hurts, right? You get taken out of a national championship game at the half, and then the guy comes back. And I believe it was Devontae Smith, if I'm not mistaken, who he got the touchdown at the sideline for. But you talk about handling pressure or being put into a situation. And right then you kind of said, this guy's a little bit – I'll be the first to tell you, he's a little better than I thought he would be as a pro. I think he's been better than I thought he would be. So obviously I misjudged that. But no, he's playing great. Seems to have a McDaniel. That seems to be a good relationship there. So yeah, they're humming along on offense. They just can't beat a team with a winning record.
Yeah. Do they remind you of the Cowboys a lot?
Not really. Not from that standpoint. But it is funny, the narrative. And I don't know if you saw McDaniel's comment this week where. And you may have even talked about it, but he said, anybody that wants to start the narrative about can't beat a good team and this narrative and that narrative, he said, with all due respect, I would tell you to F off. He said that to the media.
Babe, if the Bills ran it like that against the Cowboys, what could Miami do? And is there any possible fix for the Cowboys run D? And what do you make of all this toughness / bullied talk versus personnel?
Well, I think that's going to happen anytime you get the ball run on you, right? It's going to be toughness. That's just a fact. If they beat you in the passing game, you don't have the skill. But we all think run defense is just a matter of want to. And if I could get 11, 12 mans out of A&M, we'd stop the run. But, a little more to that. Obviously, Hankins being out didn't help. But it's funny. I have always looked at the Cowboys since Van Der Esch went out, and I see 33 and I see 14. And I was like, why are teams not just saying, we're going to run it until you can stop us? They Jamon Clark, he's just not a big physical linebacker. He's not that inside backer that you typically think of. And then they've got a safety in Marquise Bell playing linebacker. And, I mean, I don't know why teams haven't done it. Even Mike McCarthy from day one has said, basically, hey, I'd run the ball on us.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that –
Buffalo did it. And, we'll see what Miami decides to do here.
That's what Miami may do on the offensive side of the ball. From Dallas's perspective and what they do on offense, is this a get-right opportunity here? Is this a bounce-back game from Buffalo? Do you think there's some things they can take advantage of in the passing game?
I don't know if it's necessarily a bounce-back. I mean, they can rush a passer, Miami. They're second in the NFL in sacks, only to, I believe, Baltimore.
Wow.
But they've got 48 sacks. So they're going to get after the quarterback. And they come from a variety of ways. I mean, a lot of teams, they have that big-time pass rusher, and they have another guy who's good, and then it drops off. They've got like 5 guys with 6 or more sacks. So they come at you different ways. I think it's going to be interesting. Remember Vic Fangio after the 2021 game in Denver? He was a head coach, and he talked about after Denver beat Dallas at AT&T Stadium, shut them out for 56 minutes. Cowboys got a couple of late, garbage touchdowns or whatever you want to call them. And he said, we have the blueprint. I've got the blueprint for how to beat Dallas. I'm surprised other teams haven't used it.
Yeah.
And McCarthy took exception to that, if you recall. And who wouldn't?
Right.
It was very unusual for a head coach to come out of a game. Usually you say, hey, we did well. We had a good game plan. That's a great team on the other side. Fangio was beating his chest. And I will guarantee you, Vic Fangio now is the defensive coordinator at Miami, of course. I guarantee you this one's personal for McCarthy.
Well, is Fangio going to
ask him tomorrow? Well, is he joining you tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
How would you ask that?
I would say, is this personal? I would say after the last game that you played Fangio, he was in Denver. He said he had the blueprint, and you scoffed at that. Matter of fact, he said that's good to hear him beating his own drum. McCarthy said that.
Yes. Now, are you okay if we kind of tie your name to it?
We'll say Babe Laufenberg told us to ask you this.
No, but
it's a great question.
Accurately.
Yeah.
You have to quote me accurately. That's the problem.
Okay, that's not the problem. We'll do it. We won't include your name.
Like, Babe Laufenberg said that you would knife Vic Fangio if you got him in the tunnel by yourself. It's like, no, Babe didn't say that.
Yeah, but Babe, my follow-up to that is, does Fangio have a Buffalo blueprint to copy? What did they do? Because I was like, I haven't seen this much Dak hesitation in a long time. Are guys not getting open? Are they confusing him? What did Buffalo do?
Yeah, I mean, there weren't a lot of guys running free. And you always look at it and say, gosh, if we had this play, would that game have changed a little? And the second play of the game, Dak's got Brandon Cooks on a post. And I always say, when you're throwing the ball 60 yards downfield, it's not a gimme. So people are like, oh, he missed Brandon Cooks. It's like, well, the ball literally was in the air for 60 yards. And it's not like throwing a hook route or a hitch route or a smoke screen. But if they hit that, does that change that game a little bit right off the bat? And it might have. Obviously, he didn't hit it, and then the thing went downhill from there. But as to what they did, I don't think there's a true blueprint. What's funny is teams are always going to do what they do best and how they run their defense. If you're a shell team, you're not going to suddenly become a cover zero. We're going to go get blitz the quarterback and get after him. And Buffalo did what they did. Buffalo was not a big blitz team. They played a lot of coverage, and, it worked.
Babe, we're talking with Babe Laufenberg here, Cowboys Scholar Analyst. When you look at what Vic Fangio's scheme did to Dak a couple years ago in Denver, it was the man match scheme. And that's something that a lot of people said, well, look, it's going to be hard to do exactly what Denver did because there's not a lot of teams that run the scheme the way that Fangio does that. Is he running something similar right now here in Miami, and are they having success with it? Because I know that's considered a pretty complex coverage scheme.
Yeah, it's similar. And it's funny, when you look at defense, now there are a bunch of different variations, but there's 3 defenses you can play. You can play zone, you can play man-to-man, and you can play, as you say, match man, which basically becomes man as they enter your zone or on the release of the receivers, however they go, if they're in a bunch formation or whatever. So there's not a lot you do other than that. And they did play all that match man, and the Cowboys couldn't beat them. Now, here's the thing, too. Obviously, that was Kellen Moore. It's still a similar offense, but McCarthy may approach it a little bit differently. Not to say that he wasn't in the meeting room when they were putting in a game plan against Denver that year, but he may have some things that he's got cooked up for Vic Fangio. And let me just tell you, if he tells you it's not personal, he's lying. Because nobody will say, yeah, I want to get after this guy.
Of course.
It's like the whole Belichick loves the Cowboys owner. I heard Florio talking, and they've got great. Nobody's ever going to say anything bad about the Cowboys owner.
Yes.
He's the most powerful man in football.
Belichick previews every team like they're the 72 Dolphins.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
No,
I remember when
monogamy.
Saban,
He's
you guys,
great.
I don't know if you remember this press conference, but gosh, they were playing like McNeese State. And one of the reporters there in the press conference during the week, as they were preparing for, again, I'll say McNeese State. It was someone like them. And they said, hey, is this a good opportunity to see some of your backups play, get some of the twos in there? And Saban went off. Oh, so you've got us winning. You've already got us beating them. Have you seen them? Have you seen them play? Have you seen their quarterback? Like, yeah, we've seen them play, and you're going to win 50. It's going to be 50-0 at the half. So my question is, are you going to get your backups in? But so every coach, right? The other team is the 72 Dolphins, or you go into the other quarterback is Tom Brady.
Right.
They're all great.
Fantastic.
I understand that.
Fantastic preview as always. We appreciate it. Have a great trip. Thank you. Get some sun.
Okay. Happy holidays to you both.